Shalom Akyam. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. And Shalom to the sincere Akyam, spread this truth and sincerity. Shalom. Yeah, so this video, I actually want to, delve into this video of 8 years ago. During President Trump's first president term, basically during his first presidency, he mentioned something, and from that moment on, I basically, was looking at this guy as like, like something is gonna happen with him, like he's gonna do some things, man. And long and behold, man, that's also what he actually did. That's also actually what he did. Because this is what he actually said, right? Let me play the video.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We
the
have the
president?
world's great military people in this room. I will tell you that. And we'll have a great evening. Thank you all for coming, Senator. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Yeah, so this man, says that is the, calm before the storm. And of course, the moment that he said that, you don't know whether he is referring to, like that moment in that room being the calm before the storm, before certain things unfolding, or that was just, generally speaking, something that will be, for the rest of his presidency. Because we do know and understand that all these world leaders, they're trying to work together, man. Even though all these countries are separated, they're eventually all coming together, because they're trying to, cut us asunder, man, the children of Israel, right? Psalms chapter 83. Let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance, which that is pertaining to the true children of Israel, that shall not be known upon this earth for who they are. Now, they are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. You see? And, all these world leaders are basically working in cahoots, building up towards that, NWO that they are trying to establish, man. And every president that is being elected or selected, to say it like that, they are basically, helping further that plan that they have established, or that they're trying to establish. So when Trump said that, I knew, like, hey, in the spirit, they're basically giving hints, man. They're giving hints and telling us what they're actually going to do. With those with eyes to see and ears to hear. You see, so when I heard that, I was like, that's quite interesting, and it always stuck with me, man. Even 8 years later, I'm still thinking about this particular video. So I was like, let me make a video about this, and let me do a little bit of more research concerning the things that Trump had done, with the military during his presidency, man. You see, because that is basically, what he also hinted at himself in that video. He said, we have the world's greatest military, something in this room. So I went on Google, and I looked up some information with the AI mode. It says, during his first and second presidencies, Donald Trump enacted major military restructurings, expanded domestic deployments, and shifted the U.S. towards unilateral military action in the Western Hemisphere. So he was actively busy, with the military forces, man. So during his first presidency, 2017 to 2021, he established the Space Force. It says in 2019, Trump signed the 2020 National Defense Authorization Act, officially creating the U.S. Space Force as the sixth branch of the armed forces. And this is actually quite funny because this world is being fed the narrative that there are, so-called aliens in outer space heading towards Earth, but in truth and actuality, those are the angels of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai residing in the chariots, also known as the so-called UFOs. You see, so what is Esau trying to do? They're trying to, prepare their military forces, because there is going to be a war fought on this earth, on this quote-unquote kingdom or whatever, between the angels, Yahweh Shai, the men of the Lord, against the armies of the nations. You see, we can read about that in 2nd Esdras, man. If I'm correct, it was 2nd Esdras chapter 13. Yeah, 2nd Esdras chapter 13, where these... Let me also bring it out, man, actually. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 13. Straight to the point, verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. Yeah, because what did Ronald Reagan say? He said maybe we would need a threat from outer space or from outside to unify the nations. So the moment that, this quote-unquote outside threat is being presented, which that is, the Lord Yahweh Shai and the angels coming back, all the weapon barrels of the nations, of the military forces, are going to be aimed, towards the Lord and the angels, man. You see? So it says, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. Yeah, because what they're going to witness in those days is going to be terrifying, man. It's going to be very, very, very terrifying, to the point that they don't want to fight, but the Most High is going to put the Spirit upon them to still do it. Why? Because they gotta die. They gotta die, man. So yeah. Let me read on, verse 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Yeah, the chariot is gonna blast laser beams, man. And that ain't no Esau made laser beam. That's going to be a divinely created laser beam, man. Verse 11. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. Yeah, so in the Middle East, the valley of Jehoshaphat, of Yahweh's judgment, the moment that the Lord comes back and that destruction is taking place over there, once that laser beam is being pointed and shot, there ain't gonna be nothing left there, man. They're all going to be destroyed. So going back to the information that I found, it says defeat of the ISIS Caliphate. It says his administration oversaw the total destruction of the ISIS territorial caliphate in Iraq and Syria in the 2019 raid that killed ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about that, because, we know that, that is actually, set up. We know that is actually set up, because how do they have all that technology, man? It has to come from somewhere. And I was watching Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan, You know, he also had these guys in the Middle East in that series, first season, first couple episodes, man, receiving money from Western countries, you know, being funded, you know, for their things, man. And we know that they put these things in the TV shows, in the series and games. You know why? Because they show us what is going on. But you know, yeah. What shall I say? Truth is, yeah. It says truth is stranger than fiction. You know. It says high-profile strikes. Trump ordered the 2020 assassination of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani and twice launched cruise missile strikes against the Assad regime in Syria following chemical weapons attacks. So, you know, more and more war, man. More and more war, you know. So the calm before the storm. It says troop drawdowns and peace deals. He brokered the Abraham Accords and initiated significant troop withdrawals from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, including a conditional 2020 agreement with the Taliban. It says funding and alliances. It says he secured over 2.2 trillion in defense spending and pressured NATO alliance to increase their own defense expenditures. So a lot with military forces, man. So during his second presidency, 2025, Venezuela raided and captured leader. In the first week of 2026, U.S. forces conducted a surprise nighttime raid in Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro on narco-terrorism charges. Following the raid, Trump declared the U.S. in charge of the country and sought control of its oil resources. And that's basically what they was after, man. The oil resources and the other precious resources such as gold, silver, aluminum. So, you know, those kind of stories are always, you know, like a little bit like, you know, but, you know, thing is, what Trump is doing, you know, he's just fulfilling biblical prophecy, man. That's just what he is doing. You know, because the true story, man, we had never thought about those true stories, man, because we know that they push certain things to the forefront, but other things are being neglected, you know. Reading on, it says Department of War rebranding in September 2025. It says Trump issued an executive order reviving Department of War as a secondary title for the Department of Defense, authorizing the Secretary of Defense to be referred to as the Secretary of War. It says militarized border mission through an April 2025 national security memorandum. Trump ordered active duty and reserve forces to the southern border to assist with surveillance, engineering, and repelling what he termed an invasion. Yeah. Dream military budget. In January 2026, Trump proposed a record-breaking 1.5 trillion defense budget for FY 2027 to build a dream military. You know, so he's basically, you know, wrecking up that military, you know, because they're going to usher in, you know, that third world war, you know, which is biblical, man. It says contractor accountability. A January 2026 executive order prioritizes the warfighter by penalizing defense contractors that prioritize stock buybacks over production capacity and innovation. It says Greenland pressure. Trump has repeatedly threatened military or economic force to acquire Greenland for national security purposes, appointing a special envoy to the island in December 2025. And you know, all these things that he be doing, you know, is only furthering, you know, the scripture that speaks on, you know, wars and rumors of wars, man. Because basically the words that he speaks are fighting words, man. You know, and the point comes that these nations are going to be sick and tired, and then Revelation chapter 17 is going to come to pass, wherein the nations are going to basically turn their back to him, to America, man, and destroy her with fire. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows," man. So those wars and rumors of wars is what is being increased right now. Why? Because we're getting closer and closer, to the Third World War that is going to be fought, not by sword, not by, bow, but by the modern day weapons, man. And the one that is being created for these latter days, is the ICBM missiles, man. That do not require these military men to be positioned face to face, but these rockets can be launched, from the other side of the world, man. The basically, what is it? The smith that blowed the coals in the fire, man. So yeah, when we basically, go back to, that video, indeed Trump did signify that, that calm before the storm, is a reference being made, towards the intensity that he was gonna push, towards, his to his military, man. Because what we saw and read is that that military budget, the defense budget, is going to be increased to the point that he increased it to a height that it has never been before, And we're gonna see what the up and coming, days, weeks, months, and might even years are gonna have in store for us, man. Because we know that his presidency, is still going to, be there for a couple of years, man. That is what it is being, set up for, for his presidency, to last from 2025 to, what is it, 2025, 26, 27, 28, to the end of 2028, basically, man. 2028 to 2029, So that's that aim or goal with those presidents, right? But still, in the meantime, the end can already be there, So yeah, the calm before the storm, man. The calm before the storm. And let me see, man. I don't know whether I read verse 8, but verse 8 says, "Oh, these are the beginning of sorrows, man." And we're really in those beginning stages, man. The beginning of sorrows, man. Today I also had a conversation with the brother from Germany, about how these are really the beginning of sorrows, man. What we see happening, And also, brothers are being chastised, more and more. So we know that the Lord is also opening the afflictions of the men of the Lord. Why? Because through those afflictions, we're being prepared, man. We're being prepared and geared ready, for what is about to come, So yeah, with that, I do hope and pray that this video is edifying. And with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading his truth and sincerity. Shalom.